This is a 2008 Toyota Prius Touring Edition, and I couldn't find good information online about removing the rear door handles on the exterior side of it, so I'm going to kind of film this video to show the process, as it's kind of one of the weirdest door handles I've ever dealt with. For tools, you're going to need a good flashlight, a Phillips screwdriver, a T30 to get to the screws on the back of the handle, and some door trim removal tools. I have some blue tape to wrap those tools to kind of protect the paint, and I have our new handle from the junkyard. To start, you're going to want to make sure the window's up, as we're going to have to remove one of the window guides, and it has to be up for us to access that. So make sure your window is rolled up. Now we'll start here with the door panel open. There's going to be a Phillips screw inside of here, and there's going to be a Phillips screw behind this panel here. So first I'm going to remove this screw. With that screw loosened, you're going to see we can just pop that right out. Next we'll get to the one back here. There's a screw behind this panel, so it's going to be best to use a small trim tool, something like this, and we'll get that popped off. Hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing here. So I'm going to kind of open this up and get this tool kind of behind that plate. And actually a good spot to start is right here, and you'll just kind of pull it forward, and you'll see it come out. And then there's that one Phillips screw back there. So removing that Phillips screw, so we'll be able to take the door panel off. Easy peasy. And I recommend setting that somewhere in like the tray of the other one, just so you don't lose it. So we'll keep our parts safe, our two screws, as well as our trim cover that we removed. Next I'm going to wrap my little trim panel removal tool here with some blue tape, just to protect the paint around the edges. Not that this car's winning any awards at the auto show, but I figure we'll keep it nice. There you go, I kind of notched it out with my knife. So that being said, there's 8 push pins in this door panel. I think it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the bottom. So I'm going to start popping those off now. And I like to start kind of on this edge, and we'll work this tool in. And I'll take a look. There's one. Okay, so there's one right here. Nope. Let's see. Just kind of got to find that first one. And once you get one, they get pretty easy. There we go. There you go. And you'll see it. You'll hear it pop. And we're trying our best not to break those clips. This being from 2008, it's a little old. And kind of go along the bottom. There's one. There should be another right here under the speaker. Yep, there you go. And then kind of on the back side of this panel should be, there we go. You can see the whole thing starting to come loose. So it looks like we probably got one more over here holding us in. There she goes. Okay, so that should be all of them. You'll feel it kind of nice and loose. Now this one's the Touring, so it has the JBL speaker. There's going to be a wire there, and there's going to be a wire under this. So we're going to lift up on the door panel. Don't pull it all the way away. And on this one, the speaker just kind of fell out of it. This happened on the other side, so I'll show you what I did to fix that. I'll try to get you a good angle here. But there's a wire right here, and there's a release tab on the back of it. So just kind of give it a feel for it. There we go. Now we can remove the door panel. Hopefully we got a good angle here, but we're going to be disconnecting the door latch right there, and then what you want to do is carefully pull on this glue a little bit, and this plastic, peel this away. And if you do rip it, it's not the end of the world. It's just a sound dampener. But I do my best not to tear it up too bad. Try to make it look like nobody was here. So we need about that much access to everything back here. So your next step's actually going to be to remove these 3 T30 screws on the latch. So let me get that set up. All right. Removing the 3 T30 screws, they're pretty easy on this one. And we're going to be doing this because there's a nut on the back of the handle I'll show you that we have to get to, and I'll show you on the new one. But we're going to need this out of the way. So we're not going to fully take it out, but it needs to be loose. So last one, T30. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so I've got those 3 screws out for now. What I want to do next here is there's a 10mm bolt right here. Now this is holding the rail guide for the window in. So we're going to take that bolt out, but we're not going to remove that guide either. We just need enough room to be able to move this down to get to a screw back there. So we're just going to remove this 10mm. Set him off safely to the side. Okay. So you're going to see now that we got these removed, we can kind of push this and it's going to fall kind of in a bit. So using that screw we moved, we can kind of get a little more distance out of the window guide. So get this kind of dropped down. And I try to look in there to see, and I'll show you when I get it kind of lined up. I'm going to move this out of the way enough. There we go. Okay, there's a T30 screw. I'm going to grab my flashlight. This is why I recommend a good flashlight. And let me see if I can grab you and get you a view on that screw. So what you're looking for is going to be back there. There it is. That's the T30 screw on the back of our handle. That corresponds, here's the new part, or new to us part. Ugh. That's going to be this nut right here. We're going to have to loosen this because that'll allow this cover to come off. So let's do that now. I do recommend having a good extension for this so you can get in there to get to it. All right, and I wouldn't call mine a great extension, but get that on there. All right. That one's pretty loose. Hopefully nobody's already been here. So these screws won't fall out. They're actually held in place by a retainer clip on the handle. So you're just going to loosen that for a little while, and you'll kind of see on this new handle, there's these kind of clips holding those screws in so they don't fall into the door. So appreciate Toyota for doing that. All right, so on the outside of it, make sure you can see here, I just need to pop this cover off. And this is where I do recommend having the wrapped tool to kind of keep your exterior paint looking okay. You'll see this kind of pops off. Now there's a gasket on here, and we'll get to that in a minute, but that piece came off, and so we're good on that. So I'm gonna throw that aside because it's pretty cooked from the sun, as you can see, which is why I'm replacing these. So we'll toss them in the trash bucket. All right, we'll go back to this side now. There's gonna be a second T30 screw on the handle right there we need to remove. So let me see if I can give you some light just to make sure you can really see it. Yeah, there you go. So same thing as the other one, just loosen it up until it's fully loose. All right. Now, before I go to the next step, there's kind of a weird thing on these handles, and this is one of the first things that threw me off, is you'll see this piece here, right? So this door handle is going to sit in there like this, and when you operate it, it pushes that piece of plastic down. Now that hooks to a piece on the back of that door latch that we disconnected. It's possible when I disconnected it, we already got it out of the way, but let's double check that. So there it is in there. It looks like it might be off. You kind of have to mechanic by braille it in this door. And I can't really get you a good angle on it, but I can feel it with my finger, and you're just gonna wanna make sure that's kind of clear and no longer hooked to it. We'll go over hooking it up with the new one. It's easier than it seems, I will say. So yeah, I can kind of look in there. Let me see if I can light it up with the light for you. Oops. Goodness, okay. Yeah, that's what it looks like back there. So yeah, kind of off that pin. You just kind of want it off that pin, so. So now we're going to remove the handle from the outside. So these kind of like push in and pull out. So I'll show you what that looks like. So you'll want to extend the handle and then push backwards. And you'll feel it click like that. See how it's out of place now? And now this side will come out, and this handle will come out, and you're good. And this one, the gasket came with it. So the next thing is on this backside. This is actually a clip. My new ones have it, but you know, if you don't, try to retain it. And we're just gonna kind of work it out of there. You'll see the, see if I can light that up a bit. You kind of see how it's held in. Just kind of little push pins. So we're gonna take this guy and just kind of lightly work him in there. Try not to ruin the paint completely. And there you go. That little guy comes right off. And what I did notice on the other side is kind of push that in, and you'll see there's little tabbies on this. So push down on these little tabs and kind of push it into the door so it's not holding your handle up. There you go. See, and the whole door handle just fell in. So that worked out perfect for us. So let's open it up on this side and retrieve our handle here. And there we go. That's removing the old handle. So I'll put the parts on the ground here and kind of show you what was in our door for us. It sits that way. This piece sits in there like that. And you remember our little cover we removed, I tossed in the parts bin. So these handles are pretty cooked. That's kind of why I'm replacing them. So let me grab that new handle and I'll get started on installing the new one. All right, so now I'm going to kind of just prep this handle because we have to take it apart to about the same state. So I already loosened the T30 on the back, so we're just going to kind of pop this guy out. I'm going to leave that in place if I can. Set that down where I don't ruin it. And I've already loosened, or I haven't loosened that one, so let me loosen it now with my T30. And the world's longest extension, but at least it was hand tight, because I'm assuming the junkyard, when they removed it, they had to do the same thing. So, all right. So same kind of thing with that kind of pull up, push away from you in this case. And you'll see that whole handle pop up and the gasket fall out. So now we have our bare plastic. Make sure we save all our gaskets and pieces over there. And we're kind of missing the one. So I'm going to take this off now because you're going to have to when you install it. So this little gasket with the threads on the back of it for the little cover plate. So, okay. We have the raw handle. Again, we're not going to worry about this till the end. I'll show you how to rehook that up. We got our two T30s, and let's install it in the car. The other thing I forgot to mention is I do like to have a wet towel. This car was pretty disgusting and still kind of is as I'm working on it, but it's a good chance to clean off all the dirt back here. So I recommend just having a wet microfiber towel. And again, she's not winning any points at the car show, but you know, try to make it nice. The previous owner really mistreated this poor girl, and I'm happy fixing it up. So. Oh. There you go. So now we're ready for our new door handle. Okay, I'm going to raise you all up here. I'm sure it's not the best angle, but we're going to work with what we got. So I'm just going to kind of slip this in the same way the old one came out. Just kind of maneuver it in there. Don't force anything. Kind of go low on the window bar and you'll get past it. All right. And just get it lined up. Now, if you remember those little tabs we pushed in, it'll kind of help us on this side. And if I learned from the other side when I did it, how I learned this process. There we go. So let me see if I can move you and get you a better angle here. Oh, bear with me. All right. I really hope you can see that. Yeah. So I'm going to kind of push it from the back side. You'll see everybody's kind of lined up. I'm going to kind of push it through the back side. You see that little tab came up? I'll try to get the bottom one. And actually pushing on the screw really helps. Well, we'll see if we can kind of limp it out there. Oh yeah, she's out. Okay. So we kind of got that. That'll hold it in place for us when we get everything else set in here. Because you don't have as much room to work on this other side. So kind of want to make sure everybody lines up good. Something's holding me up. Let's see. It's probably that bar. What I like to do is take my extension on my T30 and kind of push on that screw on the back side. There we go. Okay. Yeah, there you go. You kind of heard it click. So we're good like that. Now what I recommend doing was taking that little gasket that has the nut on the back of it for our cover plate and kind of slip this in. You'll want to push with your T30 driver on the back side just so you don't push it back in. And they've got our little clips there. And just start screwing that in. Ew, actually, you know, that one's kind of cracked. Wonder if my other one's better. It's from the junkyard one, so it's going to be my best one. That's okay, we'll clean it up. It's not going to affect it, and we'll take the hit at the car show. 10 points. All right, you'll see those kind of pressed in, and we'll tighten that just hand tight for now. Okay, perfect. Mistake I made on the other one too is you're gonna wanna make sure for your gasket on this side, you get that in ahead of time. So let's kind of line that up. It doesn't really have much to hold it in. It's got kind of a little like retainer on the back there. And just kind of try to get it lined up. Unless I'm doing it backwards. Oh, I'm totally backwards. There we go. All right, there you go. Kind of presses in like that, and I'll leave that as good enough. So let me grab my towel. Oh, my little wet rag here just to clean off any dirt, because I don't want to take these handles off again if I don't have to. Just give me a chance to clean this up, and there we go. All right. Now for the handle. Again, with that weird kind of motion of getting it in, and that's what really took me a minute to figure out earlier, was how to slip these in. So what you're going to want to do is get this side in first, this longer bit. Once you get that in, kind of press him in. You'll hear it click like that. Now we're just going to push it forward. Don't go too hard. There you go. It'll slip right into place. And you see it's in there. It's locked in. We're good. Now let's get our little cover plate. We're going to get him lined up. Now I did notice on the other side, just make sure you're pressed in on this or pressing it in while you're doing it. There's really no spot for it. It kind of just rubs against that handle there, but you don't want this like big gap. So I like to push on that a little bit, and then from the back side, I'll hand tighten that T30 again. There we go. I think that's got it, I hope. Yep, there she goes. She got tight finally. All right. That's how you get it in there. All right. Let me switch sides. Okay, getting back to it. So we're going to reinstall our 3 T30s, so you can kind of reach through here. One thing I noticed that's kind of nice is your plug for your power door locks, if you have them, at least on this one, right, the Touring Edition, the highest class of 08. You get this kind of ring, which helps you line it up. There we go. I felt it kind of sit into place, and that looks like it's good. So we're going to thread in our 3 T30s here. All right. Okay, we reinstalled our 3 T30s, so we're going to have to try to get that bar lined up. And you'll feel it on the backside. I wish I could show you better. And I'll try to point the camera in there in a sec, but it's really easy to flick that in there. So let me do that real quick. All right, so just on the old one, trying to show you is this thing is what's pushing down on the door latch. So we got to get that set on the bar. And let me see if I can get you in there to show you what that looks like. So you're going flying, so bear with me. We're going to try to light this up. I'm going to stick the camera in there. All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so you'll see that, and I wish, let me try and get a good angle on it. We're going to try, reach my hand in there while you guys are watching. I don't know if I can do this one-handed. Okay, there's the piece, and I'm going to pull down on the latch a little bit, and it slipped right over it. So hopefully you can see what I did there. Yeah, okay. See how that slipped into that little metal piece? It holds it in place. Now I'm going to pull the handle. I'm holding 3 things. I'm going to pull the handle from the outside. You see how it pushes down on it? So we got that lined up good. So, let me set you back on your tripod. Okay, so now I'm going to tighten up those 3 T30s. Now that we got the new handle all installed, let's tighten that up. Tighten that up. Factory torque. Click, 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 and click. Okay, those are German torque spec, gluten tight. I'm going to kind of press this sticker back on a bit, and that's kind of nice thing about this tape. Not perfect, but you can kind of usually squish it back down. Make sure you don't crush this. We're just going to test the handle real quick, so kind of tuck this out of the way. There we go, just so it doesn't get smushed in the door. And bear with me, we're going to close the door. And look at that, our new handle's installed, and it works. So I'm just going to go over kind of reinstalling the door panel now, and we can wrap this up. What I wanted to show you was, you see how these retaining clips got left in, they came out of the door panel. So you're going to want to take these out before you reinstall it if this happened. Switch tools here. You just got to kind of pop these out, and I try my best not to break them. And there you go. They'll come out like this. So these were the 8 pins that were, or clips that were holding your door panel in. Hopefully my big old dome's not in the way. But we're going to take these back out. All right, check all the others, because having one in there will throw you off. So, and yeah, I didn't wrap it with tape. Okay, let me grab the old door panel here. And where those came out of is right here. So you'll see they kind of slip back in like that. So the door panel has ridges. It'll slip in and hold those clips in place. So make sure you get those in right. Make sure they match the others. They look good to me. All right, let's get this door panel back on. So remember to re-hook up your, oh, see, and I forgot this on the other side. I apologize. Make sure you reinstall the 10mm nut on that window guide. Got all the way through the other door and I had forgotten to install it. So hand tighten that for now. And take this off. Take off our T30 because we don't need that anymore. And tighten that down to factory torque. All right, perfect. Now before we slip that door panel back on, plug in your power door lock if you have it, because I'm assuming it's roughly the same for all the Priuses. Sorry about that. And get ready to set our door panel back on. So while we do that, I'm going to move you closer. And we're going to make sure we hook up our window switch again. And for my little speaker, I'll show you how I fix that at the end. But you're going to want to make sure you plug in your window switch. You have to kind of do it while the door panel's close, so I'm sorry I can't show you better. All right. And for that speaker, what I found on the other side was it was easier to remove this plastic speaker cover just pushing the clips on the back side, and they'll pop out. So we're just going to pop that out because we're going to have to glue that back into place because the glue from 08 has failed us. Make sure you don't damage that little speaker. I'm sure the hi-fi quality stereo from 2008 from JBL. All right, you'll see it kind of sets on this lip, and that makes it really easy to kind of get everything lined back up. So we have our door switch plugged in. We're just going to make sure we can kind of pull this speaker out. All right, and then go around. You can kind of look, and you're going to see where your push pins line up. See if I can get you an angle on that, hopefully. And you're just going to kind of nicely push on them. You don't need to force them. Some people like to smack them. I do too. Kind of bump it into place. All right, make sure we still get to our little speaker. Yep, all right. And then you're almost done. Really easy is we have our 2 screws in our little container here. So grab your Phillips screwdriver again. What I like to do with these, make sure you don't put the screw in it, just slip it in, press, you'll hear it click. You can take a look in there, make sure the holes line up, and put your Phillips screw in. Forget our nice little trim piece that's going to cover that screw on the door handle. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to scoot you a little closer. When you get these back in, they just kind of press in, and I found it's easiest to go kind of backwards in like that, and it'll kind of push in, and you want to make sure you get this all the way in. You'll hear it click, so hopefully it picks it up. There you go. There we go. And that's back in place. So we should be good. Let me turn. All right, got my high quality Harbor Freight super glue, so it fails in a year or two. Now I'm sure it's fine. It's fine enough. Good enough for the girls I go out with. Thanks, Eric. Oh, all right, just a little bit of super glue around the edges where the old glue was, and so it doesn't rattle in the door. Nothing makes me crazier than a rattle in the door. And so where that capacitor is, remember the little tabs that line up? We're just going to set it back in there without ruining it. There we go. I'll let that dry for a bit, and then, oops, sorry. I'll show you how to push it back in, really. All right, gave a bit of time for my glue to dry. I'm just going to squeeze in here. We're going to rehook this up. So that feels nice and solid now. If I don't bust it out again. I'm going to hook this up with the tabs on my side. Right, just make sure we're recording. And listen for that click. All right, what I found with these is to line your tabs back up. Remember, the capacitor's up top, and just kind of work them in there. And then, there we go. And it's wrapped up. So that's how you replace the exterior door handle on a Gen 2 Prius. And I hope this video helps you and gives back to the community who's taught me a lot about these cars. So thank you much.